And welcome back to the Para-Dressage European Championships, Day 1. And we've already had quite an eventful morning with our first 3 medalists crowned for the Grade 2. But next up, we have the individual competition for the Grade 1. And 14 riders coming forward for this individual championship. So we'll see 2 parts to this class. The first 7 riders coming forwards and then a short break before the second half of the class. And we've got quite a few riders here who could be in contention for the medalists. In this first group of riders, we'll have Sara Morganti, a medalist from last year's World Championships, a very decorated rider. We also have Michael Murphy for Ireland, bronze medalist from last year in the second group. Italy's second rider will follow. Rihards Snikus for Latvia will come forward in that second group. And Gabby Blake for Great Britain making her debut. But now, the first rider entering the arena for Sweden, Anita Johnsson, riding the 9-year-old gelding, current LA. So this Grade 1 class staying in this 20x40 arena, as all the lower grades will today. Riders classified based on their physical impairment. So Grade 1 is the highest level of impairment, ranging to Grade 5, who we'll see tomorrow, the least impaired riders. So this test will be walk only. We won't see, or we shouldn't see, any trotting. So riders having to really work hard to keep those horses focused and in the arena. And you can just see there on the screen, just gone past, the friendly horse stood in the corner. So riders in these lower grades having the option to have a friendly horse in the arena to give their horse confidence when they leave that collecting ring. So entering the arena, the first rider for the Grade 1 class, representing Sweden. Showing really good immobility in that first halt. So the judge is really looking for that 4-beat rhythm in the walk, really clear strides where the hind leg steps into or over that print from the forelimb. You can just see there, when the horse does that, you see that lovely V shape of the hind leg and forelimb meeting. Looking for that really nice soft movement, nice in the frame. Judges are not giving marks out of sympathy. We still expecting the same quality of work from these riders, regardless of disability. So showing a nice start, just would like to see a tiny bit of relaxation. You can just see the horse almost verging on a slight jog at times, just wanting to see that relaxation and taking a little bit of time, getting the swing in the walk movement, really the horse using its body. Just see those slight moments of resistance. You want that really steady contact, the horse up in the pole. You can just see her adjusting, saying, come back and carry yourself. And it's so difficult just to keep that same rhythm, level of relaxation, keep their focus, keep the impulsion throughout all these small turns when there's a lot going on and the horse really tempted to get distracting or slope off or give a bit too much in the walk. Staying nicely with her. very well-behaved, friendly horse in the background there. A lovely halt, very nicely stepping forwards into that halt. Very good immobility. You could just see her just carrying her hands to say, stay up to the rein, stay up and out. Don't duck behind. There was a definite entry to the halt, a really clear halt showing good immobility, and then a very obedient exit. And this horse really nicely staying with his rider, just almost offering a little bit too much at times, and you can just see that rhythm varying a little bit, not quite able to show off that really nice walk and good relaxation. There's just a little bit of tension or a little bit too much energy there. Just want to get that relaxation a bit better and settled. Some good stretch. Really want to see the horse take the rein forward and out as well as down. Showing that the rider doesn't hold the horse in that frame. It's there for their own self-carriage. They're in their own balance. And you'll see with some of the horses later, just that section behind the saddle looking holding a little bit of tension, looking a little bit tight. You can really see when the horse swings through his whole body and shows really good relaxation and suppleness. You can see the difference. But a really clean test there. And very, very nice response from the supporters. Very enthusiastic crowd watching there from the Kiss and Cry box. And some really nice quality work here. Just for those high marks that you expect to see later in the class for those medals. You can see when the horse relaxes that he has the scope to let go and show that bigger walk. And it's a really tricky task to try and get that in the arena and throughout and consistently through those smaller turns. But Anita doing a really good job of balancing the horse through those turns and really just settling him when she could. A good solid start to this grade 1. And I think what is going to be interesting over the next couple of days is to see how the scores play out across nations. Because not only are they riding for these individual medals over the next 2 days, they're also riding for those qualifying spots for the freestyle final on Saturday. So you really want those 2 consistent performances over the next few days, and it's really nice for all riders to get into the arena twice at least. So previously just the team riders would be competing on the second days, but it's a great to see that riders have a chance to get in the arena twice. So if something goes wrong, you have a chance to rectify that. And the scores through for Anita, so marks from 69 to 72. So relatively close. And she will go into the lead at this point with a score of 70.583%. As that first rider to go. And you can see their riders just getting ready to come into the arena. And that warm-up. And just coming through into that competition arena now, representing Poland, we have Magdalena Cycak. She rides the 15-year-old mare, Isabel.
Die Hochschaltstars toppte sie wieder. Hat auch Magdalena Cycak im Sattel. Es sind ihre dritten Europameisterschaften. The third European Championships for Magdalena. Fingers crossed, Magdalena.
Choosing to keep her trainer with her, just walking around the edge of the arena. Keeping that horse settled. And you can see as all the riders come in, those different compensating aids that they choose to work with, and riders have the option. We have set compensating aids that are permitted at various grades, and then we have ones that we're able to apply for based on our own disabilities. So those loop reins you can see there on that snaffle bridle. Some riders will have loops, different size loops. Some riders will have a buckle where you can move the loops and change the length, and other riders will have those various loops so they can change them as you ride. And there's pros and cons to different sets. It's very difficult when you're riding when you can't change the loops, but then when you have reins like she has here, it's quite a big difference to move from one loop to the other. So you don't always have that same level of adjustability that you would with normal reins. So entering the arena for Poland, Magdalena Cycak. Oh, that's a very unfortunate timed itch from the horse. So not quite showing that immobility that the judges would want to see, and slight disobedience that would be considered as. Fortunately, not pulling the rider out of her saddle. Oh, so unfortunate. There's just something that possibly the horse flies. Did a really good job just getting back on track there. Just need to concentrate for a few more minutes, Isabel. It's a better walk there. And this horse showing some real scope in stride. When she focuses on her rider and just relaxes and softens, you can really see the potential in the walk. But it's so tricky, and these riders really don't have a lot of strength. So when the horse is distracted by something that's irritating them or by an external influence, it's very tricky to try and get their attention back. So you really need a really genuine horse that is sensitive enough to respond to a slight aid, but secure enough in their temperament to look after the rider and not overreact. It's a very fine line and a very difficult balance to get. But really coming back into her stride now. Just wanting to, did a really good job there, just in between those circles. You want to show that moment of straightness on the centre line before you move into that next bend. So it's easy for the horse to drift from one side to the other, but you want to show that really definite couple of strides on that centre line as you prepare for that new bend. Well managed there. So not quite the 5 seconds that they should be showing for that halt. But she did a good job of keeping her attention. I think she was tempted to scratch again. So I think that might have been a little bit of damage limitation there. move off quickly before she loses her focus. And as a rider, you do sometimes have to take those risks. Sometimes you want to ride for those bigger marks, but you have to try and know the horse you're sat on, know what you have underneath you, and think about whether the potential to lose more marks is worth the gain from that one movement. So it's a real balancing act. And showing some good steps through that serpentine, some nice changes of bend. The horse really settling in her body and her frame. That 3-loop serpentine positioned either side of the centre line. And there, so the rider having to lean forwards to show the stretch. So not able to take the reins back, or too risky sometimes if you drop the rein. If a rider needs loop reins, then they drop the rein to show the free walk. From a safety point of view, if anything happens, the rider doesn't have that same level of control, so opting to lean forwards, and the horse really taking that nose forwards, and those strides getting a little bit bigger too. And a nice final centre line and a better final halt for her. So a really good job. I think that test got better as it went on. And really promising for the next few days as well. Still a lot of potential with this combination, and I think they've probably not shown fully their best work throughout the test. We had those moments of a slight distraction from the horse more than anything. But doing a really good job to get back on track and showing some good work throughout that test as well. And big smiles from her and her team, just been led out there as they go off to do the tack check. So the horses all being checked that the tack they're using is permitted tack, and any compensating aids has also been approved by the FEI before they are able to use them. And our final score, 61.875. So scores from 58 to 62 there. So not a huge difference. So fairly consistent between the judges. And that will put her into second place provisionally in this class. Just 2 riders having come forwards so far. So we still have a long way to go with this class. 14 riders in total. And a lot of the podium expected riders will come later in the class, but it all comes down to what happens on the day. And you've still got to produce that test in the arena. And next into the arena, for Greece, their sole representative, Michail Kalarakis, riding Eros CS, a 7-year-old gelding. So relatively young. I think this is his championship debut. This is a different ride than he had last year. And this will be a great experience for both of them as a combination, and for the horse ahead of Paris next year. So this European Championship is really important for horses and riders as everyone starts building towards the Paralympics next year in Paris. Greece put a lot of effort into developing their riders. Last year in particular, they did a lot of travelling around, really exposed their riders to the European circuit, and they all came on a lot from that experience. And it's really exciting to see for them as well, and see them bringing new horsepower through for these riders. So entering the arena for Greece. And a nice start for Michail. Just leaving that right hind behind on the centre line, but looking straight from the front. And the judges are really looking at the quality of the walk and the way of going, but also really looking at the accuracy. And I've always been told the walk you want for the medium walkers has the energy and purpose of a horse walking to its feed bowl in the morning, but with the relaxation that they have then as well. And it's a really fine line and a very difficult balance to have both. But this horse looking very secure in this environment for a young horse, and showing some super work here. Very exciting for him, just 7 years old. And his first experience on this championship stage with Michail. Or just losing the correct bend on that turn. You just saw the horse just falling to the inside a little bit, and you got that counter flexion. So doing a good job of getting him straight off the wall, but just losing that for a stride towards the end of that circle. Yeah, well done. You could just see him, the horse starting to come back and drop down, and you just saw him lift his hands, say, come on, carry yourself. Stay up and in front of me. Just those tiny adjustments as he goes through those movements. It should look like, when we're doing it right, it looks like it's easy as anything. It's never the case. And nicely into that hole, not quite square, and possibly a little bit short for the length of immobility, but again, that might be a conscious decision. Just to keep that horse's focus with him for the rest of the test. And you can see there's lots of tents around this arena, so a lot for the horses to look at, but they are a fair distance away. But when you're just walking, it can be difficult to keep their focus, and it gives the horse a lot of time to look around. So this horse doing a fantastic job of staying with his focus inside the arena and on his rider. You can see him there, did a really good job there, just preparing for that stretch. He just softened the horse as he came up to that half circle and just started preparing him to say, take that rein out and forwards. So really nicely set him up for that movement. Even without knowing the test, you could see exactly what he was doing. and what was about to come. And you saw that friendly horse just nearby, just giving this young horse confidence. And it's also a great opportunity to get horses in the arena and relaxed doing that job as a friendly horse. So people are often very willing to help if they have a horse that they think is sensible. It's a very specific type of horse that needs to be able to do the friendly horse job. And a super final hole, and big smiles from him. He is delighted with that, and so he should be. A super job, a lovely young horse, and very exciting for next year and the future. What a lovely combination. And very exciting for Greece as well. They've put so much work into travelling their horses and riders around, and it's such a huge amount of effort for them to get anywhere, and just the fact that they take the time and effort and the finances involved in doing that is such a big commitment, and it's you can really see it starting to pay off. And I know they've been looking for horses. They wanting to up their standard ahead of Paris for their riders. And they've done such a fantastic job of getting the riders in a good place to be able to cope with these horses. And now, when they have a horse like that, he's able to do a super job of presenting it in the arena and giving it a really good experience. And that's what it's all about more than anything, giving them a good experience in that arena, ready for the future. And he's waiting for that score, and here it is. Final score of 69.125. Scores from 67 to 71. So he'll be really pleased with that. I imagine that's close to a PB for him. Certainly at a championship, and a really super job with that talented 7-year-old. So he goes into second place at this point in time. So still early on in the class, also looking for those qualifying spots for the freestyle as well. So a really solid score posted for Greece there. And next into the arena for Austria, we have Julia Sciancalepore riding Heinrich IV, 11-year-old gelding. So Julia, super experienced rider. And as well as qualifying for those top freestyle spots, what's going to be interesting over the next couple of days, we'll get a feel for the sort of scores that are being posted, that are likely to be posted for the team. So the scores on these first 2 days don't count for the team, but they will give us a little bit of a preview about what might be possible. So we've just seen fellow Austrian Pepo Put go in the Grade 2 earlier today. But riding in this Grade 1 is Julia. And again, looking for that really clear over track in this walk. Keeping that steady rhythm through the movements. And a little bit at times, the horse showing good suppleness, but just almost a little bit too much bending. We want the horse to be, the horse's body and neck should stay on the line of the circle. So for the smaller circles, we want a little bit more bend than we would have for the larger circles, but not so much that you lose the energy out through the shoulders. So we want that energy channeled through the horse's body and out the front. And that's where you get that level of impulsion that we'll see through in the trot in later classes, but that's where you want to channel the energy here in the walk too. It's that fine line of showing the horse's suppleness and showing that it's genuine and keeping that body aligned to the movements that you're riding. And I think here with this horse, you just want to see a little bit more relaxation. The horse showing a tiny bit of tension through its body, and you can just see there not quite wanting to take the rein out sometimes. You just see that slight gap in the rein where the horse comes back at her a tiny bit in the neck for those big marks, but showing some real quality work. And the pace a little bit better there. So not quite square there, just leaving the hind leg behind and not quite square in front, but really good immobility, very good obedience into that hole, and the horse really listening. It's a really nice partnership. You feel very confident watching them as a combination. You can see the horse is really listening, really staying with her. Yeah, really nice preparation there. As you saw her go from the left bend to the right bend in this serpentine, you saw those straight lines as she made the transition. She didn't move her from one to the other. She rode that straight moment between them, really prepared the horse's balance, and really set her up for that new bend. Just preparing for that stretch, and again choosing to lean forwards so that she doesn't have to drop the rein and get that back, and that's actually quite a difficult thing to do for the rider's balance but also the horse's balance. They have to learn that actually when you lean forwards and they feel that weight shift, that they keep walking with confidence and they don't panic. Because for some horses that could be it can throw them a little bit, and it throws their weight a little bit on the shoulders, so they have to really stay in their own balance for the rider to be able to do that. It's also very difficult to see where you're going when you're in that position. So riding that on a curved line is an added challenge than for those riders who can stay in the saddle and drop the rein. But a really nice centre line for her and a good halt to finish, and she looks delighted with that. And you can see how confident they are as a combination. She drops the reins, she knows the horse is fine with the clapping, walking out on a long rein, chilled as anything. Super work there. And a really nice test for Austria. Looking like a solid score for this individual competition. Yeah, just wanting to see the horse take the head and neck out a little bit and just soften and relax into that for the even bigger marks. But already a lot of quality that she's showing in there. And she is very happy with that. It's so nice when you come to a championship and you do in the arena what you know you can. So many things have to go right for that to happen. But a nice score for Austria. She finishes on 72.208 and moves into first place at this point in the class. So scores are looking very solid in this grade 1. And she had scores of 69 to 75.8. So quite a big difference. but that final score of 72.208, so just pops into the lead. And we've got just 3 riders left to go in this first group of riders, 14 in total. And the last of this group will be for Italy, Sara Morganti. The first of our big hitters, shall we say, for this Grade 1. Those riders just doing their last minute preparations. The next rider into the arena will be at 11:36. So just running a little bit early here. But the riders are able to go in earlier if they're ready. But they don't have to go in until their time. So she has to be going down the centre line by 11:36. And it's up to the rider whether they want to stick to their time or not. It's very easy to be rushed in if they're running ahead, so it takes sometimes it takes that confidence to say, no, I'm not ready, I'd like to wait. Sometimes it can work in your favour if you're ready a bit early and the horse is starting to tire. But timing is very, very specific for some of these lower grade riders, because the riders can have a warm-up rider on the horse for up to half an hour, but no one other than the rider can ride the horse for the 15 minutes before the test. So if the trainer has got off the horse and the time is very close, and then you go in early, you do run that risk of breaking that rule. So it's something that you have to be very mindful of if the rider has a relatively short warm-up. And they're just doing those final prep for this French combination. Making sure they're ready, getting that radio taken off. As they prepare to come forward. So the next rider for France will be Anne-Frédérique Royon, riding Quater Boy LH, 13-year-old gelding. Just unfortunate, I think that was a scratch more than anything. There must be a lot of horse flies around. The horse is very sensitive when they feel something on their skin. And it can be quite tricky when the rider has loop reins and the horse moves suddenly like that. A lot of the riders not having the core strength to cope with that, and they can, as we saw there, just get pulled out of the saddle a little bit. Those reins don't slip through your hands like normal reins do sometimes. So although a lot of us couldn't ride without them, they can sometimes be a slight disadvantage. I know I couldn't hold the reins without the loops, so it's the lesser of two evils, I think. This horse looking a little bit more settled. Now he's in the arena. Really quality walk. I think the time around the outside of the arena is so important. The judges don't mark it, but they do get that first impression. So you want to show them off in a positive way when you can, whilst preparing them as best as possible for the test. So entering the arena for France. Our fifth rider to go in this Grade 1 class. horse wearing some ears there, so that could be just for the flyers, and they also could be those soundproof ones. They're just for those horses that are a little bit sensitive to noise. Really just helps to keep their focus on the rider and keep them a little bit more relaxed. Some really nice steps in the walk here, and I really like how consistent he is in the frame and really stays out in the rain. Showing that open neck. Could be a little bit more uphill at times, but you can just see it sometimes drops a little bit down and leans on the rein a little bit. The horse must accept the rein and be out to the rein, but not leaning on it and leaning on the rider to carry them. You want that self-carriage. They're better there. So you can just see her just adjusting the balance, just saying, stay up. Don't lean on me, don't sit on me. And looking like that a little bit more supple to the right than the left. Just seeing on those left turns, you sometimes get that slight counterflexion and a little bit just pushing through that left side. Yeah, better there. You just saw there, just wanting to push a little bit to the inside. And she just lost that line and bend a little bit more than she does to the right. So a very small detail, but the judge is really looking at how equal they are left to right, the straightness, the alignment of the horse. Just saw those right turns just popping out through that left shoulder a little bit. Good into the halt. Nice mobility and nicely into that walk transition afterwards. So a real test of the horse's focus in this atmosphere. Showing some really super quality steps. When the horse is in a good alignment and good balance, it really moves through his body. Really get that swinging, soft walk. Just sometimes gets a bit long and a little bit down in front. You can just see her there saying, come back. Slight adjustments in the rein. Just trying to get him to bring that weight back onto the hind legs a little bit more and come up in front. Yeah, I expect he can do this quite well. Some nice stretch there. Not showing a huge amount of difference from the medium walk to the stretch and then back again, but just keeping those really nice steps throughout, a nice rhythm. Again, just slight right flexion on that center line. You can just see the horse just finds it a little bit easier to bend this way to the other. Most horses have one way. She's doing a very good job of managing it and showing him off in a nice way, and a super final halt there. And a very nice combination, a very exciting combination, especially ahead of Paris next year. Still a lot of potential to come here with this horse and rider, but super quality work here. Some really nice movements and very nicely presented. And I think she'll be very pleased with that. Very excited support crew. You can hear as she comes out, and big smiles all round, I think. France doing a really good job of building up their team and riders and horses ahead of next year, and got a really good team here at this championship as well. So very exciting for them. I'm sure they're very much looking forward to being in front of a home crowd.
And here is the result. The second place so far with a total score 72.042%. And FEI 74.799.
And a super start for France in this Grade 1 class here. And we have quite a number of combinations that can score over 70 in this class, so that battle for the medals will be on, and for the freestyle qualification as well. But I think they look very happy with the scores, and we should have them through in a moment. So just wait for those to come through. As our 6th rider in this group comes forward, representing the Czech Republic, their sole representative at this championship. But big hugs and a very happy French team. So representing the Czech Republic, Anastasja Vistalova, riding First Love, a 9-year-old mare by Furstenball. Again, another young horse. Here for experience as well. So great to see these horses coming up and through for future championships. Riders feeling a bit braver bringing them out on the European stage than they might last year or next year. And this horse showing some real scope in this walk. Doesn't look very tall, but really big moving. Just a little bit of inconsistency in that contact and the balance at times, just really needing to keep that, an unfortunate trip, that balance in a central point for those turns. And you can just see that head and neck moving and not quite settling in place as much as you might want to, but the overtrack on the walk is massive. And you can just see the potential in this horse. Such a loose moving horse. There's almost too much to keep together. But really, Anastasja doing a super job of guiding this horse round. And you can really see the potential that this combination has. And she seems very relaxed, very settled, very focused in this arena. Really exciting for the future. And you just want her to settle in the mouth and frame a little bit and just find that connection that can stay consistent, but I'm just unfortunate step back into that halt. So you want the horse to be stepping forwards into the halt, not back, even though it ended square. But you can really see almost falling out the arena as the energy and the power goes out through that side, but you can really see she really uses her whole body, and you get that big step behind, and almost the walk is so big there has to be some level of movement in the head and neck, but it's the side to side movement that the judges won't like so much. The up and down they'll accept to an extent if the horse is through and consistent in the contact, but that side to side you can just see as the balance shifts a little bit just from there's so much movement there. But a very exciting horse, and she looks like she has a super temperament to go with it, which is exactly what you want. And see her there, just standing up to give the rein. And that in itself for the horse will need to get used to that sort of feeling. And just understand that means take the neck forward and out a little bit. But the walk didn't change, so she obviously isn't worried about it. You can see the volunteers in the background preparing to move the arena, fanning themselves in this heat. And a super centre line, very straight there, and a very good halt. Stepping forwards into that halt and finishing square. And a lovely, lovely test. Not quite pulling in the big marks yet. And a super temperament, standing there while they clap. I mean, what a lovely horse. Very talented, beautiful temperament. It's exactly what you want in a Grade 1 horse. And in most horses, to be honest. And very exciting for them. I think a very good score on the door for them today, but so much potential. That's the real excitement here. They have the potential to be a mid-high 70s test when they can just iron out those balance and connection. Not even issues, just tiny little ways to improve, and just a really exciting combination, I think. It's lovely to see. And the scores through for France is 72.042, just slots into second place behind Julia Sciancalepore for Austria, who still holds the lead on 72.2. And the scores through for this last rider, 68.083. So she goes into 5th place provisionally at this point in the class. But I think definitely an underdog for the future, and even I think throughout this competition there's so much scope for that horse to move up through the rankings, and I'm excited for her. It's a lovely combination, and as their sole representative at this championship, it's a very good one to bring forward. But just one rider left in this first group of Grade 1. And this rider will be from Italy, Sara Morganti. And she will definitely be one looking to get on that podium, if not top it. She's medalled multiple medals at championships over the year. Very experienced rider. And let's see what she can do today. And she rides the 11-year-old mare Maribel. Had some really good results this year so far.
Very experienced Dressage rider. Welcome number 2, word for Italy. Veiga, the horse, and fingers crossed for Sara Morganti.
So the last rider in this first group before a short break. And And this will be a very interesting one to see where she sits and what score she can put down, because I suspect this class is going to take a very good score, mid to high 70s, based on what some of the other riders can do and Sara can do. So let's see what she can do today. Representing Italy, Sara Morganti. And a very good halt to start. She has her game face on. Oh, and that was unfortunate. The horse just, oh no. I don't know what is happening behind the arena, but something has caught his attention, and that is not what she would be wanting. Such a strong start. Just I can't see what he's looking at, but there's just something caught his eye and really not settling on that first centre line. But she's got him back. That will be unfortunately quite expensive, the whole of that first centre line after that first halt being affected by that distraction. I just hope whatever it is that's distracted him has moved on for the next few movements, otherwise this is going to be a very long test for Sara. But really very quickly back into the test now, and really well managed, because it's not a nice feeling when the horse is very distracted and getting a little bit wound up. Yeah, just softening him as she gets on that centre line, saying stay here, stay concentrating. A really good job there, very well managed. So something is really bothering him. I don't know if it's the judge's hut or the trees behind it, but she did a very good job of managing that. And unfortunately, it probably won't be the score she'll be hoping for today, but she really needs to try and draw those marks back to try and get a good score on the board so that she can work for that top 8 qualification. So this is where riders are relieved that both days will count to qualify them through for the freestyle, because then she'll have another opportunity to ride for those medals. And she also has the team competition in a couple of days as well. So a really super job of pulling that back and getting his focus. And just see, he's still not fully where she'd want him. Her. It's just every time. Yeah, nice pat. So don't worry, don't panic. Stay with me. Very, very well managed. This is about having as good a ride as possible and preparing for the next few days. Posting as good a score you can today to get those qualification spots. So really well managed. You want the horse to come out into the arena better the next time and not be worried about it. So not the start she'd have wanted, but you can really see her experience as a rider really came through there, and managing that in a very nice and calm way to build on her confidence for the week. And showing some super work when she can, when the horse just settles and concentrates and lets go, you really see where the quality can shine through. Just picking up the marks there. You can see that running average just getting higher, where she's scooped up some higher marks than she will have got at the start of the test. Just really keeping her leg on there, saying, stay with me, keep walking. I'm here. And a super final hole. And such a shame. Such a shame for Sara, who will have had really high hopes for today, but so well managed. The horse got better, more confident throughout the test, and that's all you can ask for. She can build on this throughout the rest of the week. And hopefully have another shot at that medal on Saturday, and for those team medals in a couple of days as well. And it takes such a level of maturity and experience to deal with that situation when you're in the spotlight, and to handle it as coolly as she did there, because it can be nerve-wracking when you're on a horse that is distracted and is getting wound up and is getting upset, but she managed that really well, very calmly. Gave the horse confidence where she could, and the test got better and better. So not quite the test we expected from Sara, but horses are horses and not machines. And you have to pull it out of the bag on the day. So we'll just wait for that score, but currently sitting in the lead after this first group of riders for Austria is Julia Sciancalepore on 72.208, and Frederica Royon for France sits in silver on 72.042. So Sara Morganti there, 67.125, so she goes into 6th place at this point in the class. And that bronze medal position currently held by Anita Johnsson for Sweden on 70.583. So here are your top 7 after this first group of riders. So gold for Austria at the moment, silver for France, and bronze for Sweden. But we still have another group of riders left to go before the medals can be decided. So those are our current placings. But we have 7 more riders still to come in this Grade 1 individual class. We've seen some super scores already. The top 3 all over 70%. With some very good combinations still left to come. And what's great to see so far is some nice talented young horses as well that are coming through for the future. So a real mix of experienced combinations and new combinations and young horses looking ahead to next year. So we will be back for the next rider that comes down the centre line at 12:30. We have a short break now, but we'll be back for the second half of this Grade 1 class.
Reiter, wie Sie alle wissen, ist es nicht erlaubt, Hunde mit aufs Turniergelände zu nehmen. Und so ist es sehr vorbildlich, dass sich der herrenlose schwarz-weiße Jack Russell ohne Halsband lediglich im Pressezentrum im Hotel Suchenburg aufhält und dort wahrscheinlich top versorgt wird. Also sollten Sie Ihren Hund vermissen, schauen Sie einmal im Pressezentrum vorbei. The riders, dear guests in Riesberg, it is so very exemplary that the ownerless black and white Jack Russell without collar is walking just around the press center in the Hotel Suchenburg because it is not allowed for dogs to be on the shoulder. So if you miss your dog, have a look and walk to Hotel Suchenburg. Here it is in the press center. Welcome back to the individual grade 1 test, the first qualifier for the individual freestyle final, the FEI Power Grand Prix A test, grade 1. Let's have a look on the ranking. So far in the lead, leading for Austria, Lucia Vladovicova, followed by France and Royon. And the third place so far for Sweden, Anita Johnsson. And we will continue in a few minutes. And we are very much looking forward to welcome Germany.
And welcome back to this day one of the FEI Para Dressage European Championships. And we return with the second half of this Grade 1A Individual Championship. We have 7 riders left to go. And we've already had 7 riders come forward for this class. The leader currently sitting on 72.208%. That's Julia Sciancalepore for Austria. But some super combinations still to come in this second group. So all to play for this individual medal class. The riders just doing their last minute preparations as they come into the arena. But first in this second group, representing Germany, we have Martina Benzinger. She rides the 17-year-old mare Nautica. So some really good scores posted this morning. The top 2 both sitting on 72%. For Austria in gold, France in that silver medal spot at the moment, and Sweden currently in bronze on 70.583. So that is the score to beat to move on to the podium at this point in time, but I suspect we will see some slightly higher scores coming forward. We certainly have some riders capable of posting some higher scores, but as we saw with Sara's, it's all about what happens on the day. So next into the arena, representing Germany. So just taking her time around the edge. We had that bell go. Riders have 60 seconds to get into the arena. So you don't want to rush, but you also can't hang around too much. Just taking her time there, setting the horse up. Not panicking. Coming into the arena for Germany. So Germany have already had their first medal of the championships here in the Grade 2 with Heide Marie taking gold in front of a home crowd. So they'll be on a happy note for today. This horse showing some nice steps in this walk. Not quite always showing the same suppleness that we'd like to see for the really high marks, but already pulling in some very good marks for the accuracy and the quality showing through. Just keeps a really nice rhythm through this walk, really clear, very relaxed and focused on his rider, staying very consistent in the frame and the contact. You'd want to see the horse just using his back a little bit more for the really, really big marks. But that's if we're being super critical. And you also have to work within the confines of what the horse is able to do and capable of doing. And this horse really showing very good willingness and obedience and focus on its rider. Good training and good temperament, and the judges rewarding that. Very consistent rhythm through all this walk work, just a slight bit of tension and resistance going into the halt, and you can just see there just coming up and back at the rider a tiny bit, but very good immobility and good, very nicely square in that halt. So picking up some good marks here. And again, you really feel confident as a spectator in this combination. They look together as a partnership. Showing a nice change of bend through that serpentine. You can just see the walk stays the same through all these movements. That rhythm is very consistent. You can just see on some of the turns, the horse not quite able to show the suppleness that some of the other horses might be able to do for those high 70s, but so obedient, staying with the rider and showing a clear change of bend. When he needs to. Some nice stretch there, not quite taking it as down and showing that relaxation for the big marks. The rider able to give the rein, and you just saw the horse took the rein forwards but maybe didn't relax over the back and open the stride up as much as you might want to see for those high marks. But again, very nice, very clear, very relaxed and very obedient. Really picking up these 7.5s and 8s for that average to sit on just under 75 at the moment. I think he just closed up behind in that hole, and A very, very nice test for Germany with this lovely mare, Lipizzaner. Very striking, just very obedient and very nice to watch and very easy to watch. And big, big smiles, and I think Team Germany are showing a very strong start at this championships. Very exciting for them as individuals and very exciting for them as a team when we move into the team competition in a few days. Just this partnership so consistent throughout the test, just very easy to watch, very obedient and genuine from this lovely mare. Not the biggest walk that we've seen, or that we'll see, but just very correct, very harmonious, really rewarding good riding and good training. And here we have it, some huge marks here. It's from 71 to 77.9, leaving her on a total of 74.833. And that flies into the lead at this point in the competition. Straight into that gold medal winning spot. Straight onto the podium. We have 6 riders left to come forward, but that is a very, very good place to be at this point in time and a very nice score for Germany as well. And they've posted some very good scores so far this year, so to come and do that here at the championship in front of a home crowd is exactly what they will have been hoping for. And a super score for Germany. We have several combinations left to come who will be hoping to challenge for those podium spots. And here is one of them. Representing Ireland, based in the UK. You can see there it's trainer Elder Kalatsko walking him round the arena. It's Michael Murphy, and he rides the 16-year-old gelding Clever Boy. And this combination have grown and grown after over the last few years. He had a very difficult Tokyo, where unfortunately Michael had a bit of a tack malfunction, which was just heartbreaking to watch because they went in with such hope. But he came back last year at the World Championships and more determined than ever to win 2 bronze medals for Ireland. And he's had a super year so far again. So knowing Michael, he will be out to get back on that podium and post some good scores here. So entering the arena for Ireland, it's Michael Murphy. And not quite square, but good immobility in that hole, and a straight entrance. And you can see straight away the ability of this horse. This horse is a former Grand Prix horse, so he's taken to para in his later life. Still just 16. But really nice seeing these owners who want their horses to take a step down from the higher level work, or might not be wanting them to do that level work anymore, and taking a step into this paradressage arena and we're so lucky to have owners and supporters within this sport, allowing us to ride these horses. It's such a privilege, and so good to see people recognising paradressage as a great way to showcase their horses. And Michail now pulling the marks back with this stonking walk. You can see he's choosing to ride in a double bridle. The horse is obviously more comfortable in that, with those bits and those split reins, so that Michail just has that one rein to hold. Just got to check that walk doesn't get too big that he loses his balance and gets a little bit on the forehand. Michail riding that change of bend very nicely. You can see there, he just brought him back a little bit in the corner and said, stay with me, stay up in front, don't lean on that rein. So come on, we could do with a halt like that, very nice. So very nice and square, good immobility. Obediently out of that, into the walk work. To be hypercritical, the horse just dropping down a little bit in the halt. So Michail just needing to keep that balance up. You can just see there, giving the reins, just needing to keep that pull as the highest point. Not allowing him to sit on that rein. Nicely through the serpentine. You can just see him adjusting the balance throughout. When you have a horse this big moving, there's a lot of movement, a lot of energy, a lot of power, and it's directing it, keeping the balance in the right place. You can just see him giving the reins a little bit, not letting the horse sit on that rein. And this movement is really tough for Michail. He doesn't have the core strength to lean forwards and then sit back up. But he also doesn't have the ability to drop the rein and get the reins back again. So really giving the rein as much as he could there, but sacrificing a little bit of that stretch in the free walk so that he can keep riding this medium walk after. Just saying, keep going, keep walking. We don't finish until the end. Keep riding him forwards into that final hole, and a big smile from Michail. A really consistent test from this combination. Some very, very nice work. Just dropping a little bit down in front at times, but keeping that really nice rhythm in the walk. Michail doing a really good job to keep rebalancing him, making those adjustments. And I know there's even more to come from this combination, but what a test to post down at this championships. I think he'll be very, very happy with that. This horse just so consistent, really looking like a reliable combination in a championship environment, and a great partnership to have for this medal competition and also for Ireland as a team. Big, big pats, big smiles there. And Michail really having to use all his skill as a rider to guide this big moving horse round. He's not got a huge amount of strength, but it's a good score on the board. 74.042, and just pops in podium percent. So it's turning out to be a very competitive Grade 1 class, which is what we expected. But a very good score for Ireland and a great score for Michail. He will be thrilled to have another good test under his belt at a championship. So, the last grade 1. And next in the second rider for Italy is Carola Semperboni. She rides the 18-year-old gelding Paul. Italy not having the best start to this class, with Sara having a very tricky ride earlier today in the first group of riders. But Carola has also posted some very good scores this year, so she will be hoping to do that again and see where she can put herself in this group. Can she find a spot on the podium? So Sara doing a super job to guide her horse round earlier today, but can her teammate pull out something special for this individual class? So representing Italy, Carola Semperboni. And a bit of an abrupt halt. I think they were quick to get going, and she went with that. So not quite showing the relaxation and immobility that she could do, but you have to ride what you've got on the day. And sometimes they need to get moving to get their focus, and I think after Sara's test she might be a bit conscious about keeping that focus on her. Just a little bit of tension just on that circle. Good change of bend. You can see there that left leg, she doesn't quite sit by the side of the horse, so those turns when you haven't got the leg to support the horse's body can be really tricky. So you're really relying on your body weight, and you can, those whips, she's choosing to ride with 2 whips to try and guide the horse on either side and help with correct and just control where the quarters are. It's not quite showing the level of the relaxation that I think they can do, just holding back those higher marks that she might be hoping for, but relatively clean so far. She's doing a good job of guiding her through this test. And he is keeping his focus on her. See those ears pricked. Just overstepped that halt. Good behind and good immobility. You just don't quite see that ground cover that you did with Michail's horse. When the horse is really relaxed and really moves through the body. But still showing a nice rhythm through this work. Picking up some good marks. And you can just see on some of the turns, the horse just loses a bit of straightness where she can't get the leg on to just straighten the body a little bit, but does a really good job of correcting it as soon as she can and using those straight sides just to get that positioning back at every opportunity and showing some nice stretch there where she's just able to drop the loops and allow the rein. The horse took that forward really nicely, and a nice smooth transition back. So I think that's where those riders who can drop the rein and allow the horse the space to take the contact forward have a real advantage in that movement compared to someone like Michail, who you've just seen, who wasn't able to do that. And a good halt to finish and a nice centre line to finish, and she looks pleased and they sound very pleased. There's Sara there watching on, supporting her teammate. And a solid test for Italy. The horse walking calmly out, ears pricked. He's 18 years old now, but still enjoyed that, I think. Some big whoops from Team Italy. A huge, huge team behind all of these riders. Really making these tests possible. It's a massive team effort, whoever you are. And they really do ride the journey with us. So she needs over 72.2 to move on to the podium. And it's 72.583, and she's done that. So she goes into bronze. Julia Sciancalepore for Austria drops down into fourth. With just 4 riders to go. They look very happy with that. So a quick shuffle of the leaderboard. Martina Benzinger for Germany still sits in that top spot. But our next rider might be looking to challenge that, and there he is. Representing Latvia is Rihards Snikus on his 15-year-old gelding, King of the Dance. And this combination, very experienced. They have had some very good scores over the years. They are one of the most loved combinations. I love seeing them ride. I love seeing them do their freestyle. They have the most incredible partnership. And he is one of the nicest competitors. Also a DJ in his spare time, which is why his freestyles are so memorable. But they are capable of some very good scores in the straight test too. So not due in until 12:57. So just taking his time there. So 4 riders left to go. He needs over 74.833 to go into that top spot and over 72.583 to go onto the podium. And I imagine that top spot will be what he is gunning for. And he either looks very happy or very determined. You see him switch into test mode. He is a great competitor, and this horse is the perfect partner.
Individual Test Auslerning, zweimal Silber bei den Paralympischen Spielen in Tokio bringen sie beide mit nach Riesenbecken zum ersten Mal die Europameisterschaft.
Just been led around there, or escorted around there by his coach, just giving that horse a bit of confidence, checking everything's okay. There's a lot going on around this arena, can't take anything for granted. They are very experienced, but as we've seen today, horses are not machines. And anything that gives him a little bit of extra relaxation, they are going to do. So next in the arena for Latvia, Rihards Snikus riding King of the Dance. The individual gold medalist from last year's World Championships. Medalled at multiple championships with this lovely horse. And he's just incredible, the way he gets around on a bike. He just has such phenomenal balance. Starting strong on 78%. Just keeping that activity on the circle. So again, really nicely riding that line straight before preparing for the new bend. Just having to work a little bit harder than he might like to keep that activity, but the horse stepping through. And he's just so accepting and so in tune with his rider. Stays so good in the frame, so good in the contact. Just really allows him to ride him. Keeping that rhythm of the walk just steady. Oh, and he's made a mistake. That is not what we were expecting. We've seen a couple make a mistake in the Grade 2 earlier today. This was not what we were expecting from this combination. So that will be a little bit expensive. That will be a deduction for an error, of course. He's just got to regroup, work out where he went wrong, work out where he needs to go, and get that back on track. Not sure he's sure about where he needs to go though. And there's Sarah Leach. Just trying to remind him. Make sure he understands where he should be going. Dreaded test brain fog that a couple of riders seem to be having today. He still doesn't look fully convinced. think he's checking where he needs to start from. So, head back in the game. Just riding that movement again. Hopefully we're back on track now. So you've just got to forget it and ride the remaining movements as best you can. Really pick those marks back up. This horse has the ability to pull in some big marks, so there is scope for an error. As we saw with Heide Marie, who had an error, of course, before winning the Grade 2 earlier today. We just hope he hasn't lost his rhythm and lost his confidence. It's really difficult to get back in it when you've lost your flow a little bit, but super halt. That's what we need, some big marks to pull that score back up. Very good immobility. See that score just coming back up again now after that error, of course. Through that serpentine, showing some really nice bend, really riding those changes of direction. The horse just backing off a little bit. You can see him working a little bit hard just to keep that walk and keep that activity. But the horse is just so accepting of all his aids and really just takes it and uses it in a positive way and gives a positive reaction. Showing some nice stretch there. Again, I think he's had to work a little bit harder today than I've seen him in the past, but really recovering well from that error, of course, and bringing back some good quality work. And a good centre line to finish. Keep going, keep going. Nicely into a good final halt. And he will, I'm sure, be kicking himself for that error, of course, but really, really well ridden, really well recovered. And you can see the frustration on his face. He can't believe he's done that. He's probably done this test hundreds of times, but sometimes when we know the test so well, you almost don't think about them, and that's when the mistakes creep in. You're concentrating so much on the way of going, so much on the occasion, and what you're doing as a rider, you almost go on autopilot, and that's where the mistakes creep in. We've seen it a couple of times today with the riders, but we did not expect to see it from him. But we're all human, and he did a super job of bringing that back. And the horse just enjoying every moment. He didn't care that he went the wrong way. He loves being in the arena. He loves being with his rider, and his team just looks so at ease in that environment. And that could have been a very expensive mistake for him. We'll have to see how the scores pan out. Martina for Germany still sitting in the gold medal position on 74.833. Silver medal with Michael Murphy for Ireland, 74.042. So very close in those top two spots.
And with first place of the Grand Prix Freestyle International in Hungary in June this year. Good luck this year. And here is the results.
With just 3 riders left to go in this Grade 1 individual class. And here's the score, 75.250, and he flies into first place. Scores of 73.9 to 77.6. So a very good score for Latvia, sole representative, and he goes into that gold medal winning spot with just 3 riders left to go. So he will be very relieved that the quality of work was high enough to go into that top spot, even with a mistake. And that is why it's so important to get your head back in the game after an error. It so easily could have put them out of the swing of things. But next into the arena for Slovakia, Lucia Vladovicova, riding Sterngreifer, the 17-year-old gelding. So they've got just 2 riders here riding as individuals. Lucia choosing to ride with that split rein setup with those loops as part of her compensating aids. Just helping to refine her aids, and some horses are more comfortable in snaffles, some horses are more comfortable in double bridles. So it's great that we have the option to choose and work with what suits our horses the best and what they're happiest in. You can see there the rein very slack, so she's not riding with strength in any way. So sometimes the double bridle can just help to refine the aids a little bit more. And this horse not quite showing the quality of the walk that we've seen with the last couple of riders, but showing some really nice obedient work here and really listening to his rider. Just not quite getting that same clear walk rhythm and that overtrack that you would like to see for those higher marks. And you can see just a little bit of that tension, the horse not quite through and to the rein, and using its body in the same way, just a little step back into the halt, so that judge is looking for the horse to step forward into the halt. So a forward movement even with the downward transitions. You can just see a little bit of the slight opening of the mouth, just a tiny bit of resistance. Just nothing major, but just all adding up and just bringing the marks down a little bit. Those water steps a bit better there, but just bringing those, stopping those top marks. And you can see on the serpentine there, not quite getting the ease of the change of the bend. So the balance not quite in the central place and getting that new bend when she changes direction. really quietly riding her through these movements. So they're leaning forward for the stretch. Really looking for the horse to take the rein down and forwards and to lengthen the frame and the back to take those longer strides for the free walk. Horse just wanting to open his body for that free walk, and that's what you're looking for the top marks. So not quite getting those, but a really nice combination to watch and lots of scope for improvement going forwards as well. Really nicely managed. The horse staying with the rider. Very good obedience. Nice pats for that horse as she walks out with him.
Das größte Starterfeld heute bewiesen weg, den ersten Tag der FEI bis zur Europameisterschaft.
So a really good job for Slovakia, the first of their 2 riders at this championships. As we come to the end of this Grade 1 championship class, we have just 2 riders left to go. Currently Latvia sitting on top in that gold medal position on 75.250. Germany in silver on 74.833, and Ireland currently sitting in bronze on 74.042. So scores for Lucia 65.417, so she goes into 11th place at this point. So just 2 riders left to go. 74.042% is the score to beat to get onto that podium. Latvia guaranteed a medal, but he would really like to hold on to this top spot. And you can see there the next rider into the arena, Gabriella Blake, representing Great Britain. So, Coach Nina Venables, just checking the timings. Are we ready to go in? So Nina, squad coach, and Nikki Lickley just there with Liz, the groom. Nikki, Gabby's personal coach. And Gabby making her championship debut this week. So a huge step up for her onto this championship stage. A massive moment for any rider. There's Estelle, her mum, in the hat there. Estelle rides Beau, as he's known. So just doing their final checks. So just 2 riders left to go. Gabby doing those last minute preparations as she gets ready to enter the arena. She is due in at 1:15. So I'm sure has been called over or will be very shortly. Estelle there with the yellow armband to show the stewards that she is the warm-up rider, so they can time how long she's been on the horse. Riders in these lower grades allowed to have someone ride the horse for half an hour before they get on to check the horse is safe and prepare the horse for them. So Nikki just walking around with Bo. They've all had chances to get into this arena to ride them, so they have had familiarization time, but it's always a little bit different when you've got the judges and an audience, and the atmosphere is a little bit buzzier when you're in there on your own. So just giving both of them confidence. And Gabby's had some really good results with this horse. So she'll be hoping to have a good first championship debut, and also put something solid down for herself individually. So next into the arena, representing Great Britain, Gabby Blake on the 14-year-old gelding Strongbow. Gabby just taking a little breath in the halt for herself as much as the horse, I imagine. So a very good start on that first centre line. Showing some really good active steps through this walk work. He stays in a really nice frame through this work, just up and out, showing that uphill picture that they want to see. Gabby showing some good lines there with that change of bend, really consciously riding straight before that new bend. And a good turn onto that diagonal. Just needs to be careful not to rush the walk. Give him time to show off that stride. And again, not the scopiest of horses that we've seen, but shows really good steps and really stays true with his rider. So everything looks easy, and Gabby can ride some really nice lines with him, and keeping the work consistent. That's where he really picks up the marks. Really maintaining this quality of work. She'll be really delighted if she knew where she was sitting right now. And a very good halt, exactly what she needed. Just softening him a little bit as she prepares for that walk, but very square, very good immobility. Just a little bit of tension. You can see her just saying, come back to me, focus on me. Did a really good job of managing that. Just keep that relaxation. Keep them with you. Just got to keep that focus just for a couple more minutes. Really nicely through that serpentine. Showing that change of bend, really controlling that body so that he doesn't swing out through the changes of bend. Could just have prepared for that stretch a little bit more, just put him a little bit deeper and got that a little bit more suppleness, and it got him a bit more over the back before giving the rein, and then would have seen a little bit more from him maybe, but he kept the walk rhythm really nice. And there was a nice pickup. Just keeping control of him on that turn. Just got a little bit away from her, but she was quick to correct him. And a very good halt to finish, and I think she will be delighted, if not a bit relieved by the looks of things. But a super, super job at her championship debut. And I think she may even have done enough. Oh, she's getting a little bit emotional. It means so much to the riders. So much hard work goes into these tests and trying to produce that in the arena. And there's so many different things that have to go right for that to happen. But she will be really chuffed with herself. A championship debut. And I think she might have done enough to get on that podium. Very happy supporters. Very happy Gabby. It's a big, big moment. And she's done a fab job on day one.
And here it is, a new third place.
And the scores are coming through now. And she's done it. 74.583 puts her in bronze medal position. Absolutely incredible. She will be thrilled with that. A very, very good score for Gabby. A super result individually. Lots of very happy faces, and potentially Great Britain's second medal of the day, with just one rider left to go. She's done a very, very good job. And the final rider in this Grade 1 class, so a definite medal for Latvia, a definite medal for Germany, and just one rider left to go to see if Gabby can hold on to that bronze medal position. And the last rider in this class, representing Portugal, is Ana Isabel Mota Veiga. She rides the 16-year-old stallion Convicto. Representing Portugal, one of two riders for Portugal here at this championship. And a good first halt. Always helps when you can make a strong entry. A little bit of jogging just coming out of the halt. But it always helps when you can make a good strong entry. It really must put the judges in a positive mindset, but also really highlights the start of the test and what you are aiming for. So just getting the walk back now after that expensive jog on the centre line. Showing some really nice steps on this circle. Just needing to keep the rhythm and relaxation, not chase the walk too much. You want the energy, but not the speed, and you want the relaxation. So it's a fine line. Just a little bit too much right bend on that centre line. So not quite keeping the straightness, so the judge at C will really see that. You've got to really make sure the horse's body stays on the lines of the movement through these tests, and especially in the walk, because it is so obvious for the judges to see, and there's a lot of time for it to be highlighted. So again, I think the horse finding the right bend a little bit easier than the left. So it's just coming up on those straight lines and those left circles. Nicely into that halt, just not quite closing up behind. Just wanting to give the rein a little bit, allow that neck out. Horse just coming back a little bit where they're trying to gain control. Just get that tightness and a little bit of resistance in the neck, and then the horse can't step under and forwards. Got to give the horse space and allow the horse. You can see on that serpentine that switch to the right bend a lot easier than the left, and the horse almost offering a bit too much right bend at times. So she's having to really protect that left side to keep the straightness. Horses all have one side a little bit easier than the other. It's just managing that, and she did that really well there. Just really got that left side a little bit more under control. Again, just could have prepared for that free walk a little bit better. Just got the horse a little bit softer and a bit more over the back, so that when she gave the rein, the horse took the contact a little bit further down and out. Just saw a little bit of slight resistance there, and the free walk just highlights that. That it's not quite as soft as we would like to see for the higher marks. And a good centre line, and nicely into that, just nicely into that final halt. The horse just thinking about stepping forwards and then just hesitating. So not fully square, but good in front and looking very straight from this view. And big pass. That's the free walk we'd like to see. But again, very difficult when you can't give the rein. Sometimes the horse doesn't always feel like they have the freedom and the space to take the rein forwards. So often you'll see when the rider and the horse relaxes at the end, you get the best free walk as you leave the arena. But a very nicely presented test for them. And still more scope to come from this combination as well. For Portugal with those 2 riders at this championship. And that was the final rider in this Grade 1 class. We'll just wait for her score to come through, but I don't think it will be challenging the podium. So 66.458, so goes into that 12th spot, and a big difference, one judge at M and one judge at, on 70 and one at 62. So a lot of variation between those judges, but going into 12th place. And here we have the final results. Gold medal goes to Latvia, Rihards Snikus 75.250. Germany take the silver with Martina Benzinger on 74.833. And a bronze medal for Great Britain and Gabby Blake on her championship debut with 74.583, and she will be delighted with that, and I'm sure they all are very happy with how that class played out, all 3 medalists. So 2nd medal for Germany, a 2nd medal for Great Britain, and a 1st medal for Latvia with their sole representative. Very, very close at the top. And some superb performances in this Grade 1 class. Michael Murphy just missing out on that medal in 4th. And the top 8 all over 70%. We've had a great first morning on day 1. We will be back at 2:30 for the Grade 3 class. We'll see you then.